Hey, what's going on, guys? Crimson Desert just rolled out its latest major update, and this one feels like the kind of patch that is trying to change the rhythm of the whole game, rather than just smoothing out a few rough edges. The headline here is that the update is live now on Steam PC, Steam Mac, PlayStation, and Epic Game Store, while Xbox and the Mac App Store are still listed as coming later. And the whole point of this update is to give players more reasons to keep fighting after the continent opens up and the world starts to feel quieter in some places. Pearl Abyss says this patch is basically the first foundation for two big systems, Rematch and Re-Blockade. And that matters because it means they are not just throwing in one-off content, they are setting up structures they plan to keep building on. Rematch lets you go back and challenge bosses again whenever you want, which is huge if you are the kind of player who wants to test builds, learn patterns, or just prove to yourself that you are better now than when you first ran that fight. The way it works is pretty elegant too. You light your lantern at the spot where the boss fight happened, read the memory fragment, and start the rematch from there. Once a boss is beaten, that fragment becomes active, and you can find those rematch locations on both the world map and the minimap. Plus, there is a route through the knowledge menu that points you back to the exact place where the encounter happened. What makes this even more interesting is that it is not locked to a single protagonist, because you can jump into rematches with Cliff, Unka, or Damian, and at launch there are two modes available across 69 bosses. One mode recreates the boss as you originally fought it, so it is the pure nostalgia version where the fight stays true to the first encounter. The other mode scales the boss if your stats are higher, which is the version for players who want the game to meet them where they are now, instead of where they were when they first cleared that fight. There's also a big quality of life detail here. Consumables used in a rematch are restored afterward, and there is no separate loot reward from the rematch itself, at least for now, which tells you this mode is about mastery and practice more than farming. Right beside that comes Re-Blockade, which is basically a way to keep strongholds from feeling permanently settled after liberation. The game now has a system where certain strongholds can trigger renewed conflict based on time and conditions, and those events happen after loading screens like saving, loading, or sleeping in a bed. Players can tune how often that happens in the gameplay settings, with stable meaning no reblockades, conflict meaning they happen sometimes, and war meaning they happen frequently. During these events, 13 factions are involved across 23 forts and quarries, and Pearl Abyss says that number is going to grow later, along with stronger enemies and broader improvements to the whole liberation loop. On top of that, the patch adds two new legendary animals that can become pets, the Iron Eagle and the Hyacinth Macaw, plus a new creature called the Mountain God Boar, along with a disguise shop, new shop inventory, better interaction with previously unreachable gold bars now converted into crude gold bars worth 5 silver, a new pumpkin head location near pumpkin patches, and new carry, lower, and pet interactions for goose and duck pets. It is also worth noting that this update is not just about flashy new systems, because it sneaks in a lot of world building and progression polish too, from stronger crop harvesting behavior and better puzzle hints to fixes for mission dispatch, locked gear handling, outfit dye highlighting, the Abyss Nexus relocation near Zargan Tank Works, and better animal visuals. And yes, one of the most reassuring fixes is that legendary mounts are now corrected so they do not instantly die upon summoning, while the annoying comrade trust reset issue is also fixed, which alone will make a lot of people breathe easier. And once you get past those big ticket features, the rest of the patch reads like a giant cleanup pass aimed at making the game feel more responsive, less buggy, and a lot more stable in minute-to-minute play. The combat section is packed with adjustments and bug fixes, especially around bosses, which makes sense because if Rematch is meant to become a core feature, then the fights themselves need to feel dependable. Pearl Abyss fixed situations where bosses would fail to stagger, stay invulnerable to ranged attacks while staggered, or get trapped in endless evade loops, and they also tuned guard behavior so successful guards reduce damage more effectively across all weapon types. They even trimmed the travel distance on force current, corrected freeze recovery issues, repaired charge shot and evasive shot chaining, stopped focused charge shot from being usable before it is learned, fixed axiom force while aiming mid-fall, corrected healing force palm side effects, and cleaned up all kinds of animation and collision oddities, from shallow river bouncing to falling animations from high places to weapons looking wrong during weapon throw. There are also character-specific fixes for Damian and Unka, including a repair for piercing light with greatswords not hitting nearby enemies, and a fix for automatic fatal damage recovery behavior. Controls got a pretty meaningful pass too, because presets were resetting before and that kind of thing can make a whole session feel unreliable, so now controller and keyboard mouse presets should hold properly. Vault was also reworked, so the input is clearer. One jump press during an attack triggers the standard vault, and a second press during the move turns it into a double jump off the enemy. Sit and lean interactions were split apart, which sounds tiny but is exactly the sort of change that makes controller prompts and terrain interactions less frustrating. And there are fixes for delayed cutscene input, quick slot tab switching near interactable objects, swimming control lockups in certain water terrain, and control issues at the start of unarmed duels. On the UI side, the patch does a lot of practical work. Save files that showed the wrong chapter now get corrected after being saved again. The skills menu opens the right character's skills more directly. The Abyss map now shows teleport paths more clearly. Journal notifications can be selected to jump to discovered locations. Pets now show on the minimap at Greymane Camp. Locked items are grayed out in sell and gift lists. There is a cancel key guide during eavesdrop. Autosave slots are shown in the save menu. And there is now a way to delete save data from the load menu in the right context. The inventory and currency display bugs were fixed too, along with home decoration key guide issues, map tab selection problems, the Pets Tailor's Shop preview bug, and the stubborn Stormtalon Ridge Watchtower blockaded marker. The graphics and settings side get some nice upgrades as well, including NVIDIA Streamline SDK 2.1.1 support on PC, with a new dynamic multi-frame generation option for GeForce RTX 50 series users, a sharpness enhancement option on PlayStation 5 base and Xbox Series S and X, Mac rendering fixes including water scenes, more natural-looking rain from eaves, better bow and quiver visuals, and improved full-screen guide access. Stability is better overall too, with crash fixes on PC and a broader cleanup across PC, Mac, and consoles, while localization has been tightened in every language. Even the smaller touches are there. Better footsteps, richer sound effects on ore veins, clearer quest lines, more natural cutscenes, more believable NPC reactions, and a long list of odd visual and gameplay glitches cleared out, including awkward outfit movement, strange mount behavior, random weapon disappearance, shop display problems, quest and prison edge cases, and various collision or traversal bugs. The official notes also call out a handful of known issues that are still being watched, including problems on Intel Arc A770 with XeSS, screen issues with Intel XeS 3.0 and XeSS frame generation on Intel Arc A series cards, a white screen bug on NVIDIA GTX 1060 when FSR upscaling and frame generation are enabled, some quest tracking and progression problems, a rainy environment issue with FSR 4 upscaling, a Greymane faction quest limitation for Damian and Unka, a pet visibility issue at Greymane Camp, an evasion control quirk, a shield toss follow-up bug for Damian, a quick slot tab issue near interactable objects, a legendary mount restriction for NPC quest riders, a Mac colorblind filter issue, and a PlayStation keyboard freeze when naming pets or horses too quickly. So overall, this update is doing a lot more than just adding extra content. It is trying to make the whole game loop feel more repeatable, more reliable, and more worth coming back to, which is exactly why the Rematch and Re-Blockade systems matter so much in the first place.